Good morning, everybody. This is Tammy with VA to VA, and we're really glad you're joining us this morning. We are very excited to have a special guest today. Annette had to take the day off because she has some business, and we can all understand that, and she'll be joining us again next month. We're excited you're here. I'm going to turn it over to Lisa. I'm Tammy with Tammy's Office Solutions, and we have Lisa here, and she's going to introduce herself and her guest.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa Cole with Augusta Virtual Assistants, and today we have a guest, or this month we have a guest, Kim Hughes of Kim Hughes and Company. He has been a virtual assistant for over 17 years and was the first in the industry to offer real estate support. Kim also manages a team of REVAs, or real estate virtual assistants. She and her husband live on a ranch in Manola, Texas, and with their array of critters. Welcome, Kim.
Hi, how are y'all? Sorry, you'll hear the dogs. I'm trying to keep them quiet, but they get excited, so we'll hopefully keep them at a minimum.
That's okay. They can join in. We're very glad to have you with us here today, Kim.
Well, I appreciate it. I really do. And I think this will be a great session, and hopefully we'll have a lot of people that have a lot of questions so that they can, start building their business into a team as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And that's why we're here, trying to help people become multi-VA companies. And it's exciting to have you here and the niche you're in the real estate. And one of the things we were discussing this month is, because we're all so busy, as you know, and it's hard to have it all, but how can we do it all? So what would you suggest?
Well, this was something that when Lisa and I were talking about this session for this morning, it's very interesting. And she was like, well, you really can't have it all. And I was like, no, you really can. You really can. Mm-hmm. You just have to know what you want. In my experience, I started out as a single virtual assistant. The term virtual assistant was so new that people didn't even really know what it meant. We didn't even, we had an idea, but we didn't know what you could do with it. And so when my business started taking off, I realized probably about 2 or 3 years into it, I needed help. And I had a friend of mine who was a virtual assistant that told me, you need to hire people. And I'm like, why do I don't want to give them my money. I'm trying to make my own money. So, it was a concept that you really had to wrap your head around. And so then I had a person contact me just out of the blue. And, we went over what her responsibilities would be, and we said, we can give it a try. And we started with that, and she was phenomenal. She's been with me probably 15 years. And you will hear me talk about Brandy. She is like my right-hand person. And, we never met until probably about a year later. And we've seen each other probably in person 4 times. But she lives in Vegas, so I live in Texas, so, our paths don't cross very often. But, long story short, she's been with me all these years, and it gave me the ability to say, you know what, there is something to building a team. And by building a team, I was able to offer more services that maybe I didn't like to do or wasn't really good at. So my job was to go and find people that were good at maybe building a WordPress website, or really good with databases, or, writing a blog, So I went out and, some of these people came to me on their own, or word of mouth, or somebody would say, hey, Tony over here said you might be looking for a blog writer. So the way that I started building this team was based on what your skills were and how your skills worked with my concept of my business, because I am a very niched business. So I was looking for specific backgrounds. And, when you work, whatever business that you run, I think that if you're niched, you have to look for that specific that's going to complement you. But at the same time, if you're kind of a general where you help, Lisa and I were talking about this the other day, that, she's in a BNI group, and, there's multiple people or multiple businesses. And so, you're not toned into one. And so you may help multiple different businesses like insurance, attorneys, electricians, plumbers, and, all walks of life. So you have to decide what you bring to the table to help that specific person. And then you look to those people that come onto your team. So my team consists of, you have to have at least a real estate background. If you don't have a real estate background, then we need to figure out what you can do for the team, how your role is, and what do you want to, what are your goals? Usually I'm asking them, what is it that you're looking to do? What are your goals? How many hours are you available? What are you looking for as far as a salary? I'm asking them that because I want to make sure that before I pursue that conversation, that they're telling me what their expectations are. And then I can decide, can I meet those expectations? Because I sure don't want somebody to join my team under false pretense, and then a month later I've spent all this time training, and then they're like, you know what, this is not for me. This is not what I thought it was. I need more money. Or, gosh, really, I have to work? I really have had that happen. So, it took me a long time to build the team that I have today. And the thing that I look back on the team, and some worked out, some didn't, and you just kind of have to do your due diligence and know that this is not for everybody. I had a girl that she came on board, and she literally thought that she could just work whenever she wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And I work in a business that's very high demand deadline, and I would send her an email and go, well, did you get that listing done? Oh, well, I thought I'd work on it tomorrow. No, you can't do that. So you have to, as the business owner, when you're trying to build this team and you're trying to put together what does my team look like, you need to build your policy and procedure manual for that purpose. That was something that Lisa and I talked about the other day, and and I thought, that way it removes all of the questions. So you get all that taken care of, and then once you understand what they want and they fit your needs, then you can move forward. So you can't have it all.
Now, it's interesting because when you were talking, one of the things I thought of, because I think a lot of us do think we can't have it all, so we'll settle for whatever, and I personally, I don't think that's God's plan for my life. I think I settle a lot of time, but He wants to give me His best, and so I think that it sounds like, from what some of the things you're saying, would you say priorities are a big key to that, setting priorities in your life, in your business? Like, how would you do that?
Well, the first thing that we have to kind of look at, and I don't want to get off track, but this is something that I'm very passionate about, is that anybody that wants to start their own business, whether they're a virtual assistant just starting out, or they have been in the business for 8 years and they need to now see that I'm stuck in a rut and I need to do something to either bring my income a little higher, expand my services, or just take on more, and I don't know about other VAs, but when I get a phone call or an email wanting a consultation, I've had to turn people away because I'm so busy that I can't take on anymore. I know what my comfort level is. I've had to learn what that comfort level is, but I also look at it like, okay, well, if I need to take on more, if I'm trying to take on more clients, I have to add to my team, because my team works pretty much full time. I would say they're 20, 30 hours a week, and then I work. You don't want to know how much time I work, but I think that you have to know what your priorities are, and those priorities, I think, have a lot to do with yourself, because when you set the priorities for yourself, then it kind of sets the tone for your business. So my goal when I first started, I needed to work. I had 3 small kids at home. I had to figure it out. I mean, I was going to have to go to work and put my kids in daycare, and I didn't want to do that. And I had a husband who worked 24/7, and he drove 4 hours a day to and from work. And, we just had a lot of responsibility. We were taking care of my mother-in-law. We had so much. And then, so by going through that, we had to move forward in what made me want to start my business and then go from there. And my priority was I need to make money, I need to be available to my kids, and then it just evolved from there over the years.
Exactly. Well, looking back, Kim, if you could make one change to your business, what would it be?
If I was going to make a change from the very beginning, the first thing I would do is sit down and have a long talk with me and say, have the confidence. I think that a lot of us don't believe that, we have that inner voice saying you can do this, and then you have this other voice going, no, you can't. Why do you think you can do that? So I think you have to really believe in yourself and and have the confidence to know that let everybody poo-poo your idea. But you know what? It's your idea, and if you fail, okay, so what? Everybody has to fall at some point. So that would probably be my first thing, is tell yourself that you can do it and believe in yourself, because sometimes you're going to be your biggest advocate. And, and if you think, okay, well, this may sound crazy, but I'm going to try it. Don't be afraid of putting yourself out there, and don't be afraid to respect yourself and build your confidence as you go along. Those are the things that I look at. And, probably start off in probably being more organized as well. Make sure that you think through your processes and your goals, and make sure that, doesn't mean you're not going to change it, but start with something and think, is this going to work for the next 3 months? Something like that. When I started, there was no one to coach me. There was no one to say, oh, well, I've done that before, because we were the pioneers of the VA industry. So we were all kind of stumbling along. But, now I have really good systems in place. But it took me probably a good 2 years to get that done.
It's interesting that you're talking about the beginning of your business and what you would do different. At what point, because I know Ross is saying she's still considering starting it, what she wants to do or not. Mm-hmm. What are those things that I think, at what point did you think, okay, I've really got to either fall back or do a team? What helped you make that choice?
Oh, well, it was crazy. I was doing it all, and I knew I was not great at doing it all. And so what I had to do was sit down and make a list and say, I'm really good at A, B, and C, but when it comes to X, Y, Z, I'm not so great at it, and I really did enjoy it. So that's where, when I looked at Brandy, her personality was totally different from mine. And she liked doing the things that I did not enjoy. So make a list of what you do not enjoy doing, and make a list of what you do enjoy, and then say, okay, I need to find people that enjoy doing the things that I don't. And how much business do I have that can bring that person in? And then ask that person that you're talking to, how much time do how many hours maybe a week are you looking to have? Because I may not be able to give you a lot right now, but as I have you on the team and I'm able to offer this and maybe free me up to give you more, then I can maybe give you more. So you and I will grow together. That's pretty much how you have to start. When you're starting a team, just be up front. You cannot guarantee hours, but you know what? If you and I have a relationship, and you bring things to the team, and I bring things to the team, and I can go out there and market it, believe me, I'm going to get those people that are going to want my business or want my services. And then you just kind of evolve from there and see what your clientele is demanding. And keep in mind that your clientele may, for 3 months, you may hear nothing but, I need a WordPress website. And then all of a sudden it's going to shift, and they're going to say, oh, I need somebody to write blogs. You know, I need somebody to do my social media. So you might be prepared for this, for the, what do we call it, the spurts. You know, things change in the industries, and so be prepared for that as well, that, you know, there's a shift that's always going on, and you want to be prepared for that. And if you knit, it's easy to know.
Now, I know that, you know, right now you're probably so busy you can't imagine having to do this, but like Ross is talking about online with us, and she's saying, you know, one of the things that's holding her back is not knowing how to fully get. She has two businesses. She has a holistic healing business, and then she also has the VA business. But the thing that's holding her back in the VA world is not knowing how to attract those clients. And can you maybe give her some pointers on that?
So is she trying to, what kind of a client, what is her ideal client? You know, it's probably the
Yeah,
first.
I don't know. I think she's a generalist, but I don't know that. She said something about bookkeeping as well, so maybe that's where
So
she
what
wants.
she may want to do is, you know, when she makes that list of the services that she wants to offer, then she can go into, if she lives in an area where she can go maybe and join the Chamber of Commerce and maybe do a speaking engagement there. Maybe go to, you know, these local businesses. You know, there's, in every town you're going to find an insurance agent, a real estate, an attorney, an Edward D. Jones Company, investors. You're going to find all kinds of people. And so what you need to do is prepare your marketing for them and let them know this is the service that I offer. You can be general. You could be, you know, say, I'm going to transcribe. I mean, girl, when I started my business, I was writing Santa letters, okay? Loved it, made a lot of money off of it, but I wrote Santa letters, and that helped me get to where I wanted to go in the next level. So you may want to start off doing things that are, you know, promote, and go to your social media and promote yourself. But that's where I would probably start. If I was starting now, I would go to my local chamber, join it, offer to do a speaking engagement, maybe go to the next town. You know, like with me, I live in a very small town, so
She does as well, Kim. She's just telling us she lives in a country town area in South Australia.
okay,
So she wants to figure that out, how to get there.
okay. So just tell her that she needs to start small and build her little community where she lives, get her name known, and then expand from there. And it doesn't hurt to ask, you know, if you go in and I'm just saying insurance just because it's an easy term, but let's say you walk into your local insurance agent, you probably have your insurance with them. You know, who do you do business with? I have a CPA. You know, I look at the people that help me in my business, and then I go to them, and I would say, who do you know that could benefit from my services? And then get the, and if, you know, you don't go in there thinking they're going to go, oh, I'm going to give you 5 people right now. But remember that when people do refer you, that you do appreciate it, and you show your appreciation by sending them a thank you. This is a very important tool to the business, is making sure that you show everybody your appreciation. And, you know, when you take on a new client, you send them a thank you. I'm looking forward to working with you. I'm so excited, you know, and people appreciate that. So that was kind of an off topic, but I would start small, put together a marketing strategy, put together some brochures, get some business cards, and, you know, get all dressed up one day and go out there and introduce yourself to these people. You might be surprised at how many people would need your service.
Exactly. I like the way you said the thank you note, because this right here is going to, it's a thank you card.
See? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is going to the realtor that allowed me to set up a table last week at an open house. And she has already mentioned that they're opening a new neighborhood nearby, and she would like for me to come back when they showcase that new neighborhood. So, yes, these make a big difference. I know everybody's online and can get disconnected, But when you take the time to, write it down and send somebody a thank you, or just thinking about you or something, it really does make a big difference.
It does make a difference, and they'll remember you. That's the key, is, everything that you put out into the world comes back at you. So if you put out positive, positive comes back. You put out negative, negative comes back. But, to address this question again, some things that I've just thought about is, think about when you're walking down the street, what businesses you see. Is there maybe a yoga studio? Maybe there is a nutritionist. Maybe there's a pharmacy. Look at the businesses and then think to yourself, who do you know? And feel comfortable walking in and asking for the owner. You might, if there's, depending on what kind of town you live in, you might be surprised at how many business owners are there, and knowing that they can call you because you're in town to help them with something, and because of your expertise, that's what you have to market. And you got to make it sound like it's about you.
That's right. She said to thank you very much, because that was very helpful for her.
Good. Yeah.
So, yes, thank you very much. And I think that we even talked about some of our next question is about what advice would you give another VA who's considering managing a team? And I guess it's a little different. We talked about building the team. And
Right.
Now what would you say for someone managing a team? What are some of the factors that go into that?
You have to remember that you are the boss. Okay. What I tell my team is, I welcome your ideas. I welcome anything that you can bring to the team. And if you notice, I never call them my subcontractors. I don't call them employees. I don't say the people that work under me, because I don't believe that that's what they do. They work with me, and they are the company of Kim Hughes and Company. And they bring a lot of value, and I probably wouldn't be where I am today without my team. So, you have to appreciate what the people on your team bring to you. They will bring blessings to you, and you give them blessings. So it's got to have a mutual respect going on. So that's the first thing. But when you are managing, you have to be very clear in what your expectations are. So I'll give you some examples of what I do with mine. They have a time tracking system, and they have to log everything in there. They have to be very detailed in what they're doing for that client, because I don't want my client coming back going, well, I saw that you spent 20 minutes doing this, but I don't know what you did. There's nothing there. So I don't want my client asking me that. I want to answer his questions before he knows to ask me. So being very, very detailed in your notes on what you do for your client, that's what your team needs to be aware of. They need to be very consistent in what the responsibilities they are. My business, because it's real estate, they have to go through a training program that I have developed, and we talked about this. It's called the Real Estate Assistant Playbook, and it's realestateassistantplaybook.com. But there's modules there, and so each team member has always had to go through this training, and they have to follow what my procedure is that I have created for my client. So we go over that in detail, and if there is something on that procedure they do not understand, then I make sure that I take the time to train them, because there's a certain time that I tell them, my thing is, I will train you. I'm here for any questions that you have. You can make your first mistake. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. But my ratio of mistakes are probably 90. I have I think I'm saying it backwards, but 98% of my business is no mistakes. Okay, I live in a business that you can't afford it, and so my ratio is very good. But they know that, and they know I have high expectations of them. And in return, guess what? I'm paying them really good money. I am getting their paychecks to them on time. They don't have to worry about it. So when you're managing that team, the other thing is to have weekly phone calls with your team members. Do not do a group meeting, because each person on the team may do something different for you. So every Monday from 9 to 1 o'clock, I'm giving 30 minutes to each one of my team members. That's where we can get on the phone one-on-one. They can tell me any problems they're having with the client, if they don't understand how to do something, if they have a praise, if they have a gripe, that's their time to talk to me. And then, of course, I have them on Skype, and we email during the week, and that they know I'm available to them. They're available to me. But you really need to make sure you have a clear understanding of what their role is with the company and how they work with that client. Okay? Because some of my clients, I may not talk to them. Once they become a client and I got their procedures all straightened out and everything, and I've trained my team member to take over, I may not talk to that client again for maybe a month.
Right.
And my monthly calls to all my clients. So you got to have a good system in place.
Exactly. Tell us a little more about this real estate assistant playbook, Kim. And you mentioned the website, realestateassistantplaybook.com. What led you to build this course?
Well, that's interesting because being, again, starting my business back in 99, there was nobody doing real estate assistance. So I was kind of opening that door for other VAs, but what we were finding is that we were living in a world of real estate where it was kind of crazy. Agents were out there selling real estate, and they were selling homes, if anybody remembers, that were overpriced. These people were getting 100% loans. People couldn't afford them. It was a crazy, crazy time. So there was a lot of agents looking for a lot of help because it was new to the industry. It was a new concept. So, and oh my gosh, let me think. Where was I going with that? Repeat the question again. I got kind of off track.
That's okay. What led you to develop the course?
Oh, that's right. Okay. So what I was finding was that there were virtual assistants out there that were not able. They wanted to work with realtors. They saw the service was needed, but they really didn't have the skills to do it. And when you work in real estate, it's a very specific skill set. So over the years, I was working on, when I was building my team, creating my systems and my modules to train anybody that came to work for me. And then it kind of evolved from there to training agents on site assistants. And then it kind of went from, well, I can't really afford an assistant, but I still need to know how to run my office. So it kind of evolved into the real estate agent. So then, and literally this is something that I've been working on for years, but because I was so busy, I always put it on the back burner. And finally, I just said, when the industry started turning, I said, we've got to get people out there and get them trained. Because if you're going to work in real estate, you need to know what you need to do, because you can lose a client, cost your client money, and it gives a bad reputation to the VA industry if you take on a client and you don't know how to work in that industry. It could be real estate, it could be anything. But if you don't know how to do it and you're trying to, pretend that you do, you're going to fall. And, so this course was developed for those that want to expand their business or niche in this business as a real estate virtual assistant. And this course will teach them how to work with the real estate agent. Now, did that answer that?
That sounds really good, too, because with the market turning now back around, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more agents out there that need that assistance. So if there's anybody interested in working with them, it's a great start for them.
It is. And I will tell you this, that in the virtual assistant world, people may feel that there is that competition. There's no competition in the virtual assistant world. There's too much business out there. It's only a competition if you make it a competition, okay? But I think that everybody in the virtual world are there to help each other, okay? When it comes to working in real estate, people said to me, well, gosh, you're creating your own competition. And I'm like, I have no competition. I would love for me to have people that my agents would say, I'm talking to 5 different people. I would love that. I don't have that. So if there's anybody out there listening that are thinking that real estate might be a service they want to offer, there's enough business out there that if you market yourself right and you have the right skills, you could have a very profitable business. Okay, I'm telling you. And if you do it right and you do it the right way, you will be very good at it. And if you're a virtual assistant that's wanting to build a team, you might even say, well, because I have divisions. I call my company, Kim Hughes and Company, but I have divisions for my team. So transaction management, that's a division of Kim Hughes and Company. Listing coordination, that's another division. Social media is another division. And so you could say, you know what, I do a lot of transcribing, but now I want to do listing coordination for agents. Or maybe you do marketing or blogging or something. But, the skills, if you have the skills, the agents are needing the help, So
Well, you bring up a good point. Is the training in different modules? Like if I didn't want to necessarily do real estate, but I'm in social media, okay, could I take that part of the course, or is it all one course? How does that work?
Well, right now it's all one course. Because I feel that you need to have and real estate is a different breed. It's, people say, oh, you can do social media. Real estate is different. You're not trying to be, and I'll give y'all an example. This is a great little story. So, and I'll be real quick about it. I have a client that's in California. And she and her husband and her two sons have a very, very well-known real estate firm in their market. And she called me up a couple of years ago and said, my name is so-and-so, and I'm with this, my husband and I own our own brokerage, and I need help with social media. And I said, okay. And so, I went through my normal questions, and we had this conversation, and of course, I always ask them, what is your goal? And, she says, my goal is to have as many followers on all my social networks as my sister does. And I said, okay. So I said, well, so what? And I'm thinking her sister's in real estate. And I said, so your sister is where? And she said, well, she lives in, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay. And I said, and she goes, well, you probably know of her. And I said, oh, okay. And so when she told me the name of the person, it's a very well-known celebrity. And I started laughing, and I said, well, I'm going to tell you right now, you don't need to compete with her because she's going after a totally different market than what you're going after. And she didn't get that. And I told her, I said, you don't want to be famous in Dubai. You want to be famous in San Mateo, and I said, so we're going to build you a strategy in San Mateo. And she fought me on it. And I finally, when we started getting it going and it started working for her, that's where you see it doesn't matter what industry, but you have to know what your audience is for that industry, okay? So, selling insurance, you're not going to go out there and sell insurance to everybody in the world. So target, what's your target market is what you need to focus on. So that's why this course is developed for the person that wants to go into the real estate services, because each one talks about how it works in this industry. Now, that I've had several people go through the course and they've given me their feedback, because it's fairly new. I launched it in the spring. I will be breaking it down, but I'm not going to do that anytime soon. So I think it's priced reasonably enough that, when you go through it, you'll walk away with a lot of information.
Exactly. Kim, let me ask you, what made you decide to choose the niche of realtors?
Because that's all I knew. I mean, my background is real estate. I mean, I worked in real estate all my life, all my career life. I went to college, got a business and a marketing degree. My goal was, when I was 16 years old, my goal was, I'm going to get out of high school, I'm going to go to college, and I'm going to sell real estate. That was what I wanted to do. And I did it. I mean, I went to school, I got my degrees, I went to real estate school, got my license, and then got hired on by, I lived in Dallas, I got hired by a local brokerage, and I was going to start the next week, and I was working for Chili's Restaurants as their site coordinator. So what I did was I'd go around and pick the sites to build on. So I was leaving that corporate world of real estate to go into selling homes, and found out I was pregnant and decided that I did not want to work 24/7 and with a baby, you know. So I started off, so I went back into the corporate world, but did the consulting side, helping them organize their business, and that evolved. And then I took time off, raised my children, and then when the internet came about, I ran out and got me a computer and said, okay, here's what we can do with this, you know. And I tested it, you know, with all my clients that I had back in the day and asked them if it would work, and they said absolutely. So that was kind of why I niched in real estate, because that's really all I knew, you know.
Well, what is the biggest hurdle you find in working with realtors?
I'm sorry?
The biggest hurdle that you find in working with realtors?
Oh, Lord, girl, you know that. You know, the thing about realtors is they are very, very good at selling real estate. They are very good at working with their clients. They're very good about being out in front of all their people. But when it comes to the back office, they just don't have a clue. They really don't have a clue, and they don't care.
Right.
They are like, you know what, that's not making me money. But yeah, it will make you money if you have it organized. So the biggest hurdle would be, one, helping the agent understand you're great at this, but you're not at this. Right. And this is where I can help you, okay? So that's number one. Number two, we live in an industry that everything is needed yesterday. So you have to be able to put up with those personalities. They're very demanding personalities. Not all of them, but some of them, the majority. So those would be the first two hurdles. And then just knowing that they live in a world of competition. That is a very high stress competition world. And they need to know that you are looking out for their best interest and you have their back. And you're going to make sure that, you know, it gets taken care of. And, you know, if you can overcome those three things, which those really are not that bad, but, you know, I think that is probably the biggest hurdle, is helping the agent understand that they need to have an organized back-end office to be successful. Would you agree with that, Lisa?
I do. I do. Yeah, I hear it all the time where they come to me and say, I know I've got all these people's names, these prospective clients, on a sheet of paper, on the back of a business card, or here or there, and I need to get it in a database.
Right.
And creating that database in itself may not bring them money, but like you said, when they have that database set up and those people are getting touched with emails, newsletters, things like that, that's the long-term income for them, because they are building those relationships that when the time comes, or their, you know, finances are in order, or they have their down payment, or whatever the case may be, or they're ready to be transferred if they're military or it's job related, they're going to contact you because you have been top of mind as the agent. And so when we as virtual assistants make sure that the agent is being top of mind through emails, newsletters, things like that, through creating that database, then they're going to see that stream of income coming back.
Yes. And you know, it's kind of like I tell an agent, you know, your return of investment from what I bring to the table is not going to be a 30-day get a check. It's going to be over a period of time. You're going to see your business become more than you expected it to be, because you have now let it go and let somebody that's an experienced professional come in and take it over. So, you know, it's kind of like I had a conversation yesterday that, you know, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but at the same time I thought, you know, you can sit and talk about how great you are and what services you can bring and what you can do for that agent or anybody in the industry. You know, when any inquiry or potential client that you get, you know, you have to sell yourself. You have to really sell yourself, because it's a virtual relationship. I have clients I've never met, but I have a great relationship with them. but you have to make sure that they understand that you do bring substance and you bring order. And when a virtual assistant can do that, then that's where you start building that long-term relationship. So, my biggest thing is when, like yesterday, I had somebody that I have been talking to for probably 2 or 3 weeks, and they were telling me, yep, I'm ready to go. They sent the contract back. She didn't give me her credit card. So, I emailed her. She says, I'm at a conference. I'll get it to you when I get back. Well, bam, yesterday I get an email from her saying, well, I was talking to one of the speakers at the conference, and they were telling me that, and I'm just going to say it, that they thought my fees were too high. And she says, I can hire somebody on site for a lot less. Well, that just set me over the top. And so I just very nicely replied back, and I said, I mean, you have to do what's right for yourself and what's right for your business. Mm-hmm. But I said, you also need to remember that you're not just hiring an assistant that's virtual. You are hiring a professional person who knows how to work with your company and help you as quickly as possible and give you the highest return of investment, because you are paying for my knowledge and for my experience. And I said, but if you want to take the time and train that person and you can afford to make the mistakes while that person is going through training, and no disrespect to them whatsoever, but everybody thinks that they can have something for nothing. Well, I'm sorry, I'm worth every penny, and I will stand by that. And I've paid my dues to get that certain fee. Am I going to have every client that contacts me? No. But I'm going to get the ones that respect what I have to bring to the table. And that's what every virtual assistant needs to remember, and that kind of circles back around to the confidence. Mm-hmm. Be confident that you're not going to get every client that contacts you, but you can be confident that those that understand and believe what you bring to the table is worth every penny. And then it's your job as the virtual assistant to step up to the plate and deliver those services way beyond those expectations, as well as your team. So while you're building a team, you need to make sure they understand that mission as well. It's like I say, everybody has a mission statement. They just got to figure out what it is, and then they've got to remember it every day. So hopefully that will help somebody that may be just starting out in their business with a long-term goal of building a team, but at the same time, somebody that's been in the business for a while and they don't see their business level moving, and they now it's time to build a team. This helps them understand that we do not just sit around and eat bonbons all day long and watch soap operas because we work from home. It is a serious business, and just like any other business, you're going to have good ones and you're going to have bad ones. And I'm in my office 7:30, 8 o'clock every day, and I run my business like I'm in a office building downtown Dallas. And you've got to take it seriously. Kind of got off topic, but I'm pretty passionate about it.
It's all right, and it was used information. That's what I mean. We also, because some of the stuff you were talking about, and I know Ross asked a question again about something, but when we talk about virtual assistants just in general, and I know you do the real estate, but in general, do you think it helps them to become certified in certain things, or get? I know if for your particular niche, your course would certainly help them. But what about other types, even in generality and stuff? What do you think about that? Because Ross was talking about maybe trying to do proofreading and things, but she doesn't have training in that area. So would it help her to become certified, or to get training or take courses? What is your take on that?
Well, I kind of am on the fence with certification. I have been in this business long enough to understand that there are certifications, and some of them do hold substance. Some don't. It depends on who is giving you the training and who is going to give you at the end, who's training you, that at the end of that training you get that certification. Okay, so you have to look at who's giving you the training and what is their experience to back it up, and then does that hold anything in the industry, whether it's the virtual assistant industry or an industry that you want to work in. So if you that I'm not going to say it's a yes, you need certifications, or no, you don't, because I think sometimes it's kind of like, what, you can go to college and you can get that degree, but that doesn't mean that you're going to walk out of there knowing what to do. Okay, hands-on experience is the best. And if you are, and I'm going to kind of go take a step back with the new VA. If you're new to the industry and you're trying to launch your business, you might want to go to somebody that you have a relationship with, that maybe that is your yoga instructor, and you go to them and you go, what, I'm really trying to build my business, and I would love to do a couple of marketing things for you, and let me help you with your website, and let me help you build a database and help you with your social media, and I'll give you a discount, and then once we see that I can prove myself, I would love for you to give me a testimonial. Okay, that's going to be a lot better than going and paying thousands of dollars for a certification, which could give you a lot of information, but it doesn't give you hands-on training. So you need to keep in mind that when you're looking at certifications, that who's teaching it, what do they have, what experience do they have, that you can say, what, that person, I can stand by that and know that I'm going to walk away with something. Because when they want your money, you better make darn sure you're walking away with something that you can say, what, that was what my time was well invested. I got a return of my investment, so I feel more confident, and I now have the skill set to do what I want to do. That's the way I look at it. There's I look at all these programs out there, and I mean, believe me, I get all these emails that say, be a social media marketing expert, Well, you know what? I can tell you I have never taken any of those courses. I'm self-taught, and if you pay attention and you do your research, you don't need to pay them to tell you what they're already telling you in their blog. So you just kind of have to think that through and weigh it and see what's going to help you the best in that industry is basically what it is.
I can agree with you more, because I do think it does depend on the name behind the certification. And whether it matters to clients or not, it's still going to matter, because like you said, is it going to be quality training at the end of the day? Did you learn something, and is it going to benefit you to move forward in what you're doing? So I couldn't agree with you more on that.
Yeah. And I'll also say, and this is no disrespect to anybody, but when you're looking for training, you want people that have the experience. You don't want the person that's been in the business for a year and now they've become an expert. I'm going to go look for the person that's been in the business for 10 years or 15 years or 5 years and go, okay, they're going to know more. And then I'm going to do my research on that person to see how they, what they brought to build their business and how they did it, to show me that, okay, my investment with you, I want what you have, so therefore you know what you're doing. So just be careful. Don't buy into all the hype. I tell that to my clients all the time. They'll call me up and say, oh, well, so-and-so just called me and they've got this great program, and if I jump on it today, and I'm like, but you already have a program that does the same thing, so why would you want to go jump on that one? Because it's the shiny thing out there.
Exactly. Well, Ross, it's funny because Ross is now saying, how do you know which training organization is quality? And again, I think it goes back to, first of all, what names do you know in that industry? What are the bigger names?
Yeah.
And even asking colleagues and other people in your industry, how did they learn? How did they get trained in that industry? So if, for instance, social media, somebody wants to be trained in that, well, you look at other people in your industry and ask them, well, how did you learn it? Or did you take training? Or did you, like you're saying, self-taught and, all of that. But if there's something they did take, where did you go to take that? How did you do this? And there's a lot of VAs out that will give the information to you. I find a lot of people email me and ask questions, and I love it. It's fine. I don't mind mentoring people. Some VAs won't do that, but I think that we all should be sharing some. I don't mean I'm going to spend hours with you, but I do think it's worth asking other people in your industry as well as the industry you want to be trained in. Any other comments?
Yeah, it's interesting because Lisa and I just had this conversation that we are in an industry where you feel that we have competition, and we have no competition because we're virtual, and so your client base or the people that you attract is not going to be the same people that I attract. And there's enough business out there that if everybody came together, it would be totally awesome. And so, there's going to be certain groups or organizations that I would say that are beneficial, but you have to look at who are those members. It's not what organization or what Facebook group do I join. It's who's in that group that I can learn from that's going to bring value to me to make it worth my while to be in that organization or that group. There's two or three. I mean, I will say that when I first started, IBAA was the forefront of the industry. I'm not a member of them anymore, but it was a good way to talk to other VAs starting out. Now, because we have Facebook and we have Google Hangout and we have all of these other things, you just have to find what is going to work for you. There's plenty of people out there willing to mentor within reason, and I'm one of those. I always give back. I didn't get here because I have red hair and blue eyes. I got here because I asked people questions and appreciated them giving me their knowledge and their time and to help me to do better. So I'm not going to say I offer free services to coaching, but I've had people call me and say, I'm trying to decide whether to do this or not, and I might talk to them for 30 minutes and give them some little business tips and some confidence building and things like that. But there's enough people out there that once you weed through all the ones that are afraid to compete, that the paranoia, you'll find that there's people like you and me that are willing to, if you put something in that group and you need an answer, I'm going to be happy to answer it if I can, So you can get a lot of free, good information if you pay attention, but follow the right people because those are the people that are going to give it to you.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer of what comes around goes around, and what you put out comes back, and that's just the way I look at things. I want to see everybody.
Speaking of groups too, I don't know if everybody knows that we have VA to VA now has a Facebook page. So just a little plug real quick. So join us, and we'll also be having a website soon. Yeah. So, but yeah, things like this where you guys can ask questions, where we can help you anytime, and feel free to post on the page anytime. We love helping people, and that's the reason we started it, right, Lisa, to be able to help others.
And Kim, you have you're on Periscope now too. I mean, I've watched you on Periscope, and you get
that's kind of fun
and stuff there. So, what is your Periscope handle so people can go and follow you there as well?
It's at Kim Hughes, KIMHUGHES. So if you want to follow me on social media, pretty much everything is at Kim Hughes. So I'm Twitter at Kim Hughes, Periscope, LinkedIn, I'm Kim Hughes, Real Estate Virtual Assistant. Facebook is Kim Hughes. So you can pretty much find me, or just go to my website and click on my icons. And because I quit blogging for a long time because I was so busy, but now that I have I had a new team member that can blog for me. So she helps me stay on track with my blogging. And so, follow my blog because it'll give you some information. And that would be something else you would do is find the people that you respect and read their blogs. It's I'm not going to mention any names, but there's some big people out there that if you just follow that, they charge thousands of dollars for their program. And I'm not going to pay for that. I can't afford that. But what I will do is read everything that they put out there, because if you think about it, they're putting out what they're wanting people to buy. It's just coming out in a different way. So just remember that,
I put your information up on our event page, by the way. At least I put your Periscope information so
right.
people can find that.
It's something that
you'll have a little more after this. Who knows?
Well, hopefully.
Maybe you'll have 9. Or Lisa and I 10.
You and Lisa will follow me.
That's right.
But and if you,
I have, so
I'm a star.
I haven't gotten on.
But I'll tell you, Periscope. A friend of mine that's very well known in the coaching world. She is a hoot, and she is on Periscope quite a bit. And so I got on Periscope because of her. And then she was like, "Well, Kim, you have to do a scope." And I was like, "Oh, nobody wants to pay any attention to me. Nobody wants to, And then the more I looked at it, if you go to Periscope, you will find some of the coolest scopes, is what they call them. They're live streams, and then they're available for 24 hours after that, unless they upload them to another program. But if you are like sitting in the school line waiting on to pick up your kid and you got 15 minutes, go over to Scope and just start looking for stuff, and you will find some great scopes to build your business. When I go, I have to drive like 30 minutes to get to the chiropractor. So I may not, of course, I'm not watching it, but I'll get in the car and I'll find a scope, and then I'll turn it on and listen to it all the way over there. And 15 minutes, I've walked away with another tip to put in towards my business. So one thing
that's a great medium. It really is. And I just wanted to mention we only have 2 minutes left.
Oh, okay.
So I want to make sure that you give us all the information so that people can find you exactly. I know you gave us some. And then what is your website? So if anybody wants to get on and do your training, Kim. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to make sure we get that forward stuff.
Let me just say this real quick before I do that. Podcasts. Go and look for podcasts and listen to those and multitask. Listen to it while you're doing something else, and you'll learn a lot of stuff there too. So you'll find some really good podcasts out there. Okay, so if you're interested in building your business or expanding your services in real estate, you can go to my website, which is kimhughes.com, and you'll find my blog and everything, and then that will take you over to, you'll see an icon for the Real Estate Assistant Playbook. But if you want to go straight to the Real Estate Assistant Playbook, it's the THE Real Estate Assistant Playbook.com. It's long, I know. And go over there, and hopefully what I've tried to do is give you all the information you need to decide if this is a course for you. The one thing that we did is right now for the month of October, we've lowered the price $200 because of y'all inviting me on here. The other thing is at the end of the course, you get to pick my brain for 30 minutes. And that could be anything that you need to talk about. I had a couple yesterday, and I think I get more out of it than they do, because I just feel like, they just feel so much more confident, and can ask the specific questions. And then we have a private Facebook group and everything. But the website is going to give you all the modules. It's going to tell you what each module is. It drips out to you about every 2 or 3 days, I believe. So you can't take it all at once because you'll get too overwhelmed. But so prepare your, for about 5 weeks. Every other day you get a new one.
That's very generous, Kim. We really appreciate that. That's a great
Yeah.
Lisa, if you don't mind putting her site address on our event page and put out there that she's doing a special price for us, that would be really great. If you don't mind that.
Thank you.
And we're actually at the end of our HOA, so I think we could have gone another hour probably. But
Well, I've enjoyed this.
We really appreciate it.
So I
Well,
appreciate
very
you
good.
inviting me. And hopefully we can do it again.
You did a great job, and we would love for you to come on again. So we
Okay.
just want to tell everybody thanks for watching, and have a great day. Lisa, take it away.
That's right. We'll see you all next month. Don't know quite yet what the topic will be, but we'll be putting it out there on social media. And if you have any other questions you would like to ask Kim, even after watching the rebroadcast, you can post them on the VA to VA Google Plus page or Facebook page, and we will make sure to ask Kim those questions and get back with you with her answers.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, and we will see you again next month.
Thanks.
Have a great
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye.